What's up, guys? This is Professor Ganymede, and we're actually going to do a video on how I think Overwatch should be balanced. Alright, so we have Overwatch is a pretty cool game. You know, it's one of the few games where support characters are very important to, you know, to a team's success, you know, to the game in general. Which is why I like it so much. That's what I look for in the game. I'm looking for good support characters. Looking for, you know, a game where I matter at the support. So I have a few notes here about how I think Blizzard could actually balance their game to be more fun for the most players, as well as be more versatile, as in you'll have diverse teams. You know, you don't just have one team every game on attack, this is what you pick, and one team on this side, this is what you pick, and that's all you ever pick. Because right now, that's actually how the game plays out in a lot of situations. So we're gonna have a theme here as we go through these balanced suggestions, and the theme is self-reliance. Right? The theme is self-reliance. Why? Because that makes each individual character more fun, but also still gives them the opportunity to be really synergetic with other heroes. And the reason why we focus on self-reliance so much is because it makes it's going to be the experience of 95% of players that they can't rely on their team. So, for example, as Mercy, as Zenyatta, if your team isn't doing their job well, it makes it so you can't do your job well, which is a really bad experience, especially when introducing the game to new players, or introducing the game to players who don't really want a team, or maybe only want to dual queue, but still have to play with 4 other random people, right? So the balancing they have on certain characters is perfect. Lucio is perfectly balanced. They need to not change him. He is great right now because they model him off of that idea of self-reliance. So with Lucio, if your team's not doing your job, if they're just running in one at a time, dying over and over again, Lucio can still do his job. He can still heal the people that need healing, that survive. You know, he can still get out of a dangerous situation. He can still speed up other people to the fight. He can do everything about his kit. He can do without his team. Right? And same thing for a Tracer. If her team's bad, Tracer can still perform. She can still do everything her character is designed to do. Same thing with Genji. He can do everything his character is designed to do. Hanzo, you know, Zarya, you know, everything. All these characters have this thing where if your team is bad or out of position, you can still do your job effectively. That's just not true on Mercy and Zenyatta, which is why they're not viable picks for things like King of the Hill. And King of the Hill, you pick Lucio, or else you're going to bring your team down in terms of the support, because they're too easy to kill, they're too easy to shut down if their team is not properly protecting them. And you know, right now Blizzard has this theme. Well, Zenyatta is, you know, a character that relies on his team. Mercy is a character that relies on the positioning of the team. And I would actually argue that actually hurts your game a lot. There is no reason you need to make it so that certain characters rely on their team, but other characters are self-reliant. Having characters be self-reliant, even if they aren't, it wouldn't make them OP. It just make it so they're more fun for more players, because you can go into a game and be like, and have more control over the outcome of the game, and not be confined to the outcome of to how your teammates play. As Lucio, I can carry a game where my teammates are doing poorly by properly doing my job, by properly using my ult effectively, by using my heal effectively, by using my speed buff effectively. I can take a team that's not working together, bring them together by speed buffing them out of when they spawn, and then ult them and force them into a fight. I can do that because my job isn't reliant on how they play. I can actually make them play well with kit. And Mercy just can't do that. In a lot of situations, Mercy can be shut down, right? A good Tracer, a good Genji, you know, a good McCree, a good Winston can just shut her down if her team is not in a position to protect her, which is going to be the experience for most players. Same thing for Zenyatta, a good Genji, a good Tracer, a good Winston is just going to be able to shut that character down because their team is not in a position to protect them. So I have a few balance changes. that revolve around the supports, because the supports like control the flow of the game, like to control team composition, and they control, you know, who's picked. I want to make the game more fun. It needs to be a toss-up, like on the King of the Hill match, or attack and defend. It needs to be like, oh, I could pick Lucio, I could pick Zenyatta for this good reason, oh, I could pick Mercy for this reason. But in a lot of situations right now, Lucio is the obvious pick in every situation. There's just situations where Zenyatta is not a viable pick, where Mercy is not a viable pick. If your team's doing bad, you don't pick Mercy, you don't pick Zenyatta. If you're on the King of the Hill, you can't pick Zenyatta and Mercy because a good Tracer, a good Winston is just going to shut them down. So we have, you know, a few balance changes, and I think these are the main ones that need to be focused on for Blizzard's game of Overwatch to have the most appeal to the most players and to be the most fun. So we're actually going to start with a, we've been talking about the supports. We're going to start with a non-support. We're going to start with Reinhardt. Reinhardt is too essential in attack and defense maps. So payload, capture the point. There's usually a Reinhardt on both sides because that shield is just so essential for pushing. It has too much synergy. It adds too much to both teams. It lets Bastion stay behind the shield and just drop down that damage continuously. It makes it so you just don't see other tank picks like Winston. You don't see very many tank picks like Winston and like Zarya, especially in non-competitive play where most players are going to be playing. The vast majority, 95% of players, if not more, are not going to be playing in a competitive environment. Right? They're going to be playing in an environment where they can't rely on their team. A competitive environment, I say, is an environment where you can coordinate with your team to have a coordinated push, coordinated defense. That's competitive. But in a non-competitive environment where you can't rely on your team, Reinhardt is too much of a staple. You see him on both sides every game, and I think they need to nerf his shield to make it so every other kind of tank is more viable. So I have the balancing of nerf his shield by 500. So right now his shield is at 200. Make it 1500, just to see if we can get more Winstons on the field. You know, get more Zaryas on the field, just to spice things up, so it's not the same thing every game. You know, so I think that would be a good direction for Blizzard to go. So start with that 500 shield nerf on Reinhardt, and then we're gonna go to Mercy. We're gonna go to Mercy. I think Mercy is really good. I like her. I just think she needs to be more self-reliant. And you can even do a little some balance changes, so just to not make her repeat. But she needs to be a contender to Lucio in pretty much every case. You know, you need to have a real choice. There's no reason to have some characters that are, team reliant, and some characters that are only that are self-reliant. So you know, for Mercy, when I go to Mercy. She has her Guardian Angel ability. Her Arcadia staff. Her Guardian Angel ability should not be restricted to her ally's position. That's unnecessarily restricting. It means that if your team's in a bad position, you're in a bad position, which means that she's just not viable in a lot of situations where Lucio would be viable because you can't destroy walls. Lucio's wall climb is gonna be good in every situation. His movement is gonna be good in every situation. He has a great ability to protect himself. So Guardian Angel needs to be unrestricted. She needs to be able to, like Pharah, fly anywhere she wants, right? Increase the cooldown. Do what you need to do, but make sure so she has that self-reliant aspect. And even I could see, I don't think it would be bad also to give her longer range on her resurrection and longer range on her heal beam in the exchange of increasing the charge rate on her ult. So nerfing her ult so it takes longer to charge. Because they did that to Zenyatta and they did that to Lucio, but they somehow kept Mercy the way she is. But they need to, and I think that would actually help for competitive play. That her ult is really good in competitive play and non-competitive environments. So increase the charge time like you did with Lucio, like you did with Zenyatta. Increase the range of her ult and her heal by, I'd say, maybe 5 meters. Right now it's 15 meters. Make it 20 meters. But the essential, what you need to do on Mercy to make her a viable pick, is to unshackle her guardian angel and make it so she can fly anywhere, maybe in one direction, you know, but make it so it's not reliant on the position of her team. That'll make her more fun to more players, because if your team's out of position, you aren't forced to be out of position. You aren't dead because your team was playing bad. You know, you can control. You have more control over your own character, and that won't make her OP. That'll make her, you know, somewhere near Lucio, maybe even on par, or maybe even better in certain situations, which at the current right now she just is not. If it, you know, right now, you know, you still need a Lucio in a lot of situations. Even competitive play, there's usually a Mercy and a Lucio, but there's rarely ever just a Mercy. You know, but I see situations where there's a lot of just Lucio because he's a better pick for those reasons. So I think she needs to have her Guardian Angel unrestricted, and she could use, and then a good one would be increase her range on her heal and her resurrection to make her more safe, but also increase the time it takes to charge her ult to make it so, you know, a little bit more on par with Lucio and Zenyatta. And now Zenyatta is oh my goodness, we're about to go on a rant with Zenyatta, because Zenyatta is absolutely broken right now. His kit does not work. He is the least synergetic character in this game. All of his abilities just don't synergize with a glass cannon. So right now he has 150 health. That is unacceptable for a person who needs to play so forward in so many situations. Absolutely unacceptable. He's such and his lack of movement. I don't think Blizzard is properly taking into consideration of how much not having a movement ability hurts a character. Maybe they will when the game comes out, but as of right now, they have not. They've had numerous opportunities to fix him, but his lack of movement makes him such an easy target, so easy to get to. A Tracer, Genji, just going to get to him. A McCree can get to him no problem. They can't really do that with Lucio, and less to effect with Mercy. But his lack of movement means you need to actually, you know, buff him in other areas. Zenyatta's job right now, he is a real support. He's a real assault, a real damage dealer. He needs to be doing both of those things in order for his job to be, doing his job effectively. And with the lack of mobility, with his ability to be, with the fact that he's pretty much resigned to the ground level, unlike a lot of other characters who can get elevated, like a Widow or a Hanzo or a Lucio. They need to make it so he can reliably fight off characters, because with no CC, with no mobility, his only way to fight off someone trying to kill him, if a Winston jumps on him, if a Tracer jumps on him, if a Genji jumps on him, the only way for him to survive is to kill that person, which means he has to be made so he can reliably do that with good play, which means 150 health is just not viable. And also he gets one shot by a Widow body shot, by a Hanzo body shot. Unacceptable. Like, he needs at least 200 health. I would say 250 health. What you would do is, instead of giving him shield, just give him an extra 100 flat health. So that would be something he has to go and regenerate or get healed off of. And he still have 100 shield, or maybe even reduce his shield. Maybe give him 150 health. Maybe give him 200 health overall, but then 50 shield. Whatever, make it so he has that meat on his bones. So in one-to-one fights, in one-to-one skirmishes, he can defend himself. Now, if you want to make it 200 health, I'd still say give him the flat health, 200, but that's not enough. A lot of characters with 200 health can do their job effectively because they have a mobility. A McCree has his roll, and he has his flashbang that makes him safe while having 200 health. Hanzo, right? He has his scattershot arrow, really good burst damage. He has the ability to scale up on walls, so he can play back safely with no damage fall off, right? So, but he has 200 health. A Widow, right? She has a very safe play style, 200 health, a very skinny frame, so she's hard to hit, and she has a grappling hook, so she can get to very obscure, very safe situations, and even use that in a combat situation in order to be more evasive, right? Zenyatta doesn't have that. 200 health is not enough. I don't care how much damage he does. 200 health is not enough. He needs to be able to reliably fight off those people trying to kill him and contend with people and do his job, to be able to peek around corners correctly and not just get one shot, right? You know, and be able to contend with the people who are also doing their job well, who are also throwing down damage on him. So he needs 200 health at least. I'd say 250 would just. That'd be great. That'd be great. That'd make him a contender with Lucio and Mercy. With Lucio, who is a self-reliant character, and with Mercy, if you make her a self-reliant character, that'd make it so you'd want to pick him on King of the Hill maps. Because right now, King of the Hill maps, it's a pain. It's like pulling teeth trying to play Zenyatta on the King of the Hill map. There's a lot of the thing about King of the Hill maps is there's a lot of sharp corners. You know, you don't know your teams are aligned really to one side. Anyone could be anywhere. There's a lot of flankers. There's a lot of Winstons on King of the Hill maps. You just get stopped if your team's not protecting you, and that makes him just not a viable choice. That's not fun. That's not fun. You need to make it so it's a choice. There's no reason you can't make it a choice. There's no way you can't make him self-reliant and still have him not be overpowered. He will not be overpowered by having 250 health. He will not be. There will still be situations where Lucio is still a better pick. You know, but still, 200 health is the baseline. He cannot have 150 health. He cannot have 150 health. That is bad design. Another thing, his Harmony Orb needs to be increased. 3 seconds is not enough, especially for someone who would maybe have 200 health. He needs to have the ability to drop that on someone so he can get out of line of sight, because he needs to make up for the fact that he has no mobility. 250 health, 200 health will not solve that lack of mobility problem that he has. Harmony Orb needs to make it so maybe it takes 6 seconds, 7 seconds, whatever, more than 3 seconds before it drops off. Right? Five is but 6 seconds would be good before it drops off of somebody. His Discord orb is perfect. I love it. Perfect. Love it. The 3 second thing, the fact that you can just throw it and animation cancel it. It's perfect. It's perfect. Nothing about that. His right click is shit. Okay. His right click is horrible. His right click is horrible. It is not add enough to his kit. Like a right click is like Lucio's right click. It adds a knockback to his kit. That's huge. That adds something he wouldn't otherwise have. You know, a McCree, it gives him that little flashy. You know, he shoots his gun 6 times in the really close environment. He kills people. He bursts down tanks. That is really good. That right click of his. Who else? May's right click. It gives her long range sniper damage when she's otherwise a close range character. All these right clicks add really essential things to their kit, to these characters' kits that they otherwise wouldn't have. Zenyatta's right click is not good. It's just not good. It gives them a little bit more options to be a burst damage, but then it's a trade-off because then you can't throw a Discord on somebody. If someone's rounding the corner, I'd much rather throw a Discord on somebody and then shoot them with my left click than use my right click. It doesn't add enough value to his kit. I just think they need to take off that right click because that burst damage he has enough damage on his own. I would say if I was designing Zenyatta, I'd take his right click away right now and give him something like either a movement ability or a self-healing ability so he can heal during combat, or a shield. Maybe make it so his little orbs flying around him and deflect bullets or something like that. But just trying to give him burst damage is too weak. So if I don't expect Blizzard's gonna actually fix that. So they have to buff the right click to make it so it does what it's actually designed to do, which is to do really good burst damage. The reason why it's so bad is because first of all it takes time to charge up. Each orb does less damage, so each orb only does 35 damage when he's charging, and compared to 45 damage when he's just using his regular left click. And of course, you can't throw a Discord on somebody while you're charging it. And it takes, so when you charge it, you have like 2 seconds before it just automatically shoots off. That's unnecessarily restricting. That needs to either be like 10 seconds or just not be a cooldown at all. You can just walk around. You're like, wait, what do I hear? Is that a Tracer? Is that a Reaper? Zzz, and just kind of peek around the corner and then fire it. Also, the fact that those orbs shoot one at a time, like one after another when you fire it, that makes it way too hard to actually land the shots. Especially since the orbs have travel time, that I would much rather just use my left click. So another thing you need to do, make it so you can hold it as long as you want, or for 10 seconds, or so you can hold it to actually use it when you need to, and make up for the fact that you can't use your Discord orb while you're charging that thing. And then make it so it either has hit scan. That would be amazing. Or make it so the orbs all fire at once instead of firing one after another. So you can actually reliably hit it. Make it so instead of 5 orbs firing at one at a time, it's 5 orbs fire into like one. They form like a symbol, and it fires as one thing. You know, or give it hit scan. So as soon as you fire, as soon as those orbs fire off, they hit exactly. They hit. They hit where they don't have that travel time that makes it so when you die left kick is so hard to aim in the first place. They just have hit scan. So one of those ways you need to change the right click. Either get rid of it altogether and replace it with something else. Give it a hit scan. Increase the time you can hold it. Maybe increase the time it charges to 5 orbs, or make it so all the orbs fire at once, because right now it's too unreliable. It's too unreliable as a source of damage. It unnecessarily restricts Zenyatta and makes it so he can't use his dip score, or which is a big part of his damage. It makes it so it doesn't add enough to his kit. And I would also say I think that his ultimate could use a buff as well with the range, but that's a take it or leave it. You know, that's the same thing with the right click. Right click right now is a take it or leave it. You don't need that thing. It's a bad right click. It's just a bad right click. What is I'd say increase the range on it, but if you increase its health and do these other buffs, you don't really need to do that. But it would be nice to have a little bit more range on that ultimate, because he has to be. It puts a glass cannon on the forefront of combat, which. I don't know what I'd do with that ultimate. Maybe increase the range of his ultimate by like 5 meters, or make it so it can hit people through walls. But right now, the reason Zenyatta is bad is because he is too reliant on his team to do his job, which means he's going to have a bad experience for 95% of players in most situations. They need to make him so he's more self-reliant and able to reliably fight off those flankers and those people who jump on him with good play. So he needs to be good at 1v1ing, basically. All right. Okay. And then finally, we're gonna hit the final person. Widowmaker needs to be goddamn nerfed. Widowmaker needs to be nerfed. She is right now too good. Right now, Widowmaker has 200 health. That is ridiculous for someone who can just play at the black lines, who doesn't rely on the positioning of her team like a Zenyatta. Zenyatta needs to be around his team because he needs to heal them. Zenyatta doesn't. Widowmaker does not care who is around her. She just puts herself in the best position, a sniper's perch, and shoots. And she's a really skinny target. She's really hard to hit. Plus, having 200 health, she has way too much health. She needs to be down to 150. She needs to be able to eat more easily kill, because her being so skinny, her having the ability to get to obscure locations regardless of the position of her team, she has too much health right now. That's bullshit. Her aim on her damage on her while she's scoping charges way too fast. She can shoot way too fast. She does way too much damage for how safe her playstyle is. And you can see that in tournaments. Like Widow wrecks the enemy team when she's in tournaments. She does too much damage. Right now, when she's aiming down scope, her damage charges to 150 damage in 1 second. But she can actually shoot, like pretty much as fast as Zenyatta can shoot his orbs, she can shoot. So she can just kind of, and they're hit scan too. They're hit scan. She just boop, 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 try to aim for headshots. And if you're good, you just kind of wreck the enemy team. No, that thing needs to be increased. I'd say double it. Make it so it takes 2 seconds for that thing to charge. Bring it down to 150 health. Make it so it takes 2 seconds for that thing to charge, and you'll see less widows, but she'll still be pretty prominent. But then you see assaults coming in as well, because widow just isn't the default choice. I see her too often. I see a widow on both attack and defense. That's not good design. You need to, if you're gonna make it so you can change your characters at any time, make it so other characters are more appealing. Widow is too popular. Widow is too good. All right, so I think I said all I need to say. I hope I didn't miss anything. Please, Blizzard, take into consideration these balance changes are for the fun of the game, for the good of the game. Make your game self-reliant. Do not unnecessarily restrict your players by making it so some characters are team reliant and some characters are self-reliant. It's gonna make it so less characters are fun. Zenyatta has a really great potential to have crossover appeal, to draw in players who never ever played support before, and now they play Zenyatta because he can still do damage while also having the cool ability to support his team as well. So I really think this will help your game, Blizzard. So I hope you take this into consideration. This has been Professor Ganymede. Thanks for watching.